Anyways, just your thoughts in the transition, kicking in the end, and have you been more successful than maybe even you envisioned when you got here?
I think it goes back to my hard work and the repetitions that I put in to execute my job for the team. And I don't think that it's a surprise to me what I've done so far. I just envisioned myself when I got here to be successful, and I think just the hard work and dedication that I put in is just showing off, and I plan to continue my success with what I've had.
Superstitious?
I'm very superstitious, actually.
So when people tell you you're doing well, you're like, don't tell me that?
Yeah, I just try to focus on the next kick, the next game, and put my team in good positions to help them out when my number's called. I try really not to focus on the success that I've had thus far, and not get too caught up in the moment. Just try to keep doing what I'm doing and repeat the things that make me tick, make me do well.
You were known kind of before coming here as someone with a booming leg, real strong leg. Is that something that you can work on? Like, how do you work on that to make sure that it stays to that level?
Repetitions. In terms of the weight room, I focus on my core a lot. I think that's a big part of it. Staying fast twitch with my leg speed. That's a big part of it. Not necessarily strength for the most part. In the off season, you do want to strengthen your core, strengthen your legs, all that good stuff. In the season, you just kind of want to maintain body composition, and the fast twitch is a major part of it with my leg speed.
Michael, kicking in my own Pushkar Stadium, the hospital end, the wind kind of swirls a little bit. The open end or the other end, if you've got a lot of depth back there. Just talk about kicking in the stadium, the challenges.
Yeah, any stadium you go to, there's going to be different winds. At Georgia State, where I came from, that was actually the old Turner Field where the Braves played. It was a baseball stadium, so that was a very tough place to kick in terms of wind. Our stadium is a tough place to play in terms of wind when there is wind and it gets caught in there. Me and Coach Coons and Coach Brown do know is it's kind of hidden sometimes. You can't necessarily trust the flags on the uprights all the time. I try to look at the American flag that's above the hospital end. I like to judge it off that as well. And, that's just something that you got to work on in warm-ups. That's why I like to get out there as early as I can. The first thing I look at is what are the flags doing, what's different from the flag outside of the stadium, and what's different between that and the flags on the uprights.
Well, those two flags could be different.
Correct, yeah. So you just have to play your ball. You got to trust your swing. And the wind will switch. So a lot of it is not getting too much in your head with that, not overthinking it. Just trusting your swing, trusting what you've taken thousands and millions of reps up to that point.
Transfer. You were real successful at Georgia State. So what led you to think you wanted to go elsewhere, and why ultimately West Virginia?
Yeah, a major goal of mine was to play the biggest football I could possibly play. I thought I accomplished just about as much as I could at Georgia State. I did all three there my previous year. I kicked off, I did field goals, and I punted. And I just wanted a bigger stage. I wanted to expose myself, put myself in the best position possible for my future and my goals. And when I got into the portal, West Virginia, felt right for me. The coaching staff, the facilities, everything it had to offer in terms of getting me to where I could be the most successful. So I chose here.
Asked Neil last week about you. I said, what's a comfortable distance? He says 50. What do you think?
I'm definitely comfortable from 50. I would say 53 to 55. I feel good from. Yeah, I would say 53, 55.
And you made that one against TCU, and then it got wiped off there. Is that kind of a little bit disappointing? That would have been your long, right?
That would have been my career long, yeah. I didn't necessarily agree with the false start call, but
of course.
It is what it is. That's how football goes. And, I had another chance at it from 58. But it didn't go through, and that's just, that's something that that football is and that you got to deal with, and next kick.
You talk about what it takes to technically to do things. Tell me a little bit about what goes through, about the mental part of that. That's probably more important, isn't it, than anything else you do? And I mean, because you're alone so much in your own head.
For sure, yeah. I think the mental aspect is a lot more than the physical aspect. That's something that my coach, Dan Orner, in Charlotte, that I've trained with since I was in 8th grade, he's always said it's 90% mental. In the off season, that's when you want to go back to your mechanics, your fundamentals, and train that stuff. Because when you get in season, you don't have time to get in your head to think about things like that. You kind of, for me at least, I kind of black out when I'm out there on the field, and I let my training and everything that I've done for the past 10 years kind of come into full swing there. And I just try to think honestly as little as possible and block out the noise, not think about anything else, just other than what I need to do to execute for my team out there, and let it ride, let it rip.
Do you do any work with the team psychologist at all?
I have a little bit, but no, not currently.
You have to take your leg. You're 3/4 of the way through the season. You have to limit the number of kicks or be mindful of that.
Yeah, that is something, late in the season. This is week 10. Something to be mindful of. Everyone on the team, they get tired. They're dinged up. Everyone's banged up. That is something to look out for. But they do a good job here monitoring that, and I know what the work I have to do throughout the week to get me ready for Saturday, and even in warm-ups, before a game, there's always a rep count you don't want to go over.
How many long kicks do you try in a week?
In a week, it really it varies. It depends on how I'm feeling. If I feel like earlier in the week I didn't get a lot of reps at that range, maybe on Wednesday or Friday when I kick, I might attempt a few more. It just really varies, and it depends on my confidence level and if I've gotten enough reps to feel good for a long kick for Saturday.
So Wednesday and Friday are the days you extend it a little bit and try to...
Yeah. Tuesday, I kind of stay more mid-range and just get back to my fundamental stuff. And then Wednesday, I'll probably get some more farther back live operations. And Friday, whatever I feel that I just want to get my confidence going into Saturday for, I will.
You always end up with a made kick? You never leave the field?
Yeah.
Because you want to make one before you get off?
Yeah, going back to my superstition, I can't. I got to. I'll kind of throw the kick count out the door there. I can't go off the field with a miss.
It seemed like once we learned that you were committing and coming here, looked at some film, watched some games of yours, things like that, and saw a lot of a personality. a lot of like after a bowl, smoking a cigar, kind of like even hyping the guys up on the sideline. Do you feel like the fans here kind of got that full personality to you? Have you like fully unleashed like you as a person?
I don't think I've gotten to that yet.
And what's holding you back, maybe?
Yeah.
It's a little different personality.
Yeah, the stage is bigger here. I kind of, the pressure's higher, the stakes are higher. I kind of like to just worry about doing my job. I will say, like, we didn't have too much of a fan base. Here, I think I could get in myself a little bit more, but I'm more worried about, executing my job and just getting it done. And I was kind of younger back then when I was doing that stuff. You kind of go through that phase when you're in your younger years, around 21. But I'm a little older here. Yeah.
To his point, though, I mean, look what Pat McAfee's done with his career. Kickers, there's a room in this profession now for free-spirited kickers, right?
For sure.
There were some fans that compared you to him when they first learned you were coming. Is also why I kind of asked that.
Yeah, I would say more of that would probably, maybe a little bit of personality, but he did all three here, and I did all three there. But I'm a little bit more focused on just executing my job and helping the team.
Mike, you talked about how you guys have kind of changed up personnel on kickoff, gone a little bigger, but also you kind of have to protect the defense a little bit too. And a number of touchbacks against UCF, Saturday, whatever. But I guess your role on that, I mean, you're one of the 11 out there. What do you have to do to kind of participate in that plan?
Yeah, my role is to put the ball in the end zone, and I can do a better job of doing that, especially from last game. In terms of when the ball doesn't go into the end zone as a touchback, my role is to be the safety essentially, and be the last guy back there to make the tackle.
And then, I haven't really had a chance to ask anybody else about this since you weren't able to play, but the onside kick, I think you got rolled out right before that, right?
Say that again.
On the onside kick against Oklahoma State, right? You weren't on the field, I understand, but like you're involved in a lot of that stuff there too. I guess how rehearsed is that? Had Danny and Leighton ever been on that before? Like, what do you recall from that? With obviously a very unique perspective there.
Yeah, we practice that every week, and that just goes back to repetition as well. Those guys are put in a position to make a play, and we're put in the position to get the ball to hit a certain way onto the ground so it can get up and be a jump ball essentially, to get on that and to recover it. But that is something that we work on every week, couple of days.
I mean, obviously hard not to be out there. What do you think watching it? What do you think watching it on film and how it went? And would it have been any different if you were out there?
I think it was drawn up well. I think it went the best way that it could have gone. But any guy that goes in, they know the job and what to do when they're out there.
Mike, were the coaches created any unique ways in practice to simulate pressure situations for you?
I think during fall camp, that's something that is definitely applied a lot more. When the job's not really secured, they did a really good job throughout camp. I remember multiple situations, probably around 10, honestly, throughout the days of camp, where we had the whole team around us, and they basically picked sides of who they thought would make the kick or miss the kick, and the team or the team that was chosen, that lost, that ended up losing the competition, they would do up downs as like a punishment, or they would have another situation where the team would run, have sprints after, and no one wants to do that after an 85-degree practice here and a long 2-hour practice. So that was a big thing just throughout camp that we did a lot.
Being from Florence, South Carolina, is your first mass exposure to West Virginians, everybody roaring by on their way to Myrtle Beach, and you tell them to get out of your way? And is it odd that you're here now?
Can you ask that again?
Being from Florence, is your first exposure to a lot of West Virginians being them all coming by on the highway going to Myrtle Beach, and probably you want them to get out of the way so you can get where you want to be? And did you think about that, or was that odd that you wound up here?
I didn't think it was too odd. I think it's honestly a little bit more weird that I grew up, an hour from the beach. I actually lived in Conway for a few years, Conway, South Carolina, 30 minutes away from Myrtle Beach, and went on spring breaks there throughout high school, and I just thought it was kind of interesting that that's a big location for vacations with families that everyone likes to go to. I personally would like going to the Charleston area a lot more since I grew up going to Myrtle Beach all the time. But I thought that's really cool that's a place that people from up here like to go to.
A lot of components to your operation. Did it take a while to adjust to those individuals once you got here, and then all of a sudden now the last couple games you have to switch with Grayson hurt and Leighton seemingly being flawless in a backup role? So
Yeah.
go through that.
Yeah, Grayson did a great job since I've gotten here in January throughout spring ball. Did a great job through the games that we played up to this point. And Leighton Bechtel came in. He did the job perfectly. I have no complaints from either of them. Austin Brinkman makes my job easy. Without those guys, without the line blocking, I wouldn't be having the success that I've been having. But those guys make it easy for me.
One more here, Danny King. Has that helped you become a better kicker, having to compete against him? Pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. That's something that at Georgia State that's a difference from here. I didn't have someone that always pushed me. I think Danny's brought the best out of me. I brought the best out of him. He's a very good kicker, field goal kicker and kickoff guy. but for sure, I think competition brings the best out of everyone, and he's a good kid. He's definitely pushed me.
Okay, Michael, thank you.
Thank you for your time.